Well, I'm going to hook up my Skype connection by cable because I just had you drop out, by the way. So I'm on wireless right now. Let me hook it up just so we don't lose each other again because I lost that one little bit. But there we go. All right. Well, man, the show was a lot of fun. I mean, it was just part of a long, weird career in the media business. Started out in radio, and I mean, that's how I ended up in Dallas and ended up doing the show. As I had run a station there years before, and ended up back there owning a nightclub and a recording studio. And I saw an ad on the back of the Dallas Observer looking for voiceover talent, and they were basically that was the first thing that I should have realized, is that they were trying to replace the actors that they were using in Canada.
Oh man, that's good that you mentioned that. That was actually one of my questions. So dude, I told you, it's always about money. The whole thing to begin with was they went bankrupt, or at least this is what I was told. I don't want to get quoted or anything because I'll get in trouble, but I was told that the show was put into bankruptcy because they had a deal with Saban, I think, to syndicate it at first. Saban and Ocean Studios up in Canada.
And between the voiceover cost, because they were using union guys and stuff, you know what I mean? As a former voice actor, I know how much you're supposed to get paid for that kind of stuff. So what they did is they handed us all tapes and told us to emulate the voice that was on the tape, and if you came close, then you got the job.
That's how you landed the role?
I didn't actually land the role that way. It was funny. I went in to read for one of the characters and read for Captain Ginyu. And then as I was walking out the door, because I think I was if I remember right, I was the only actual professional voice talent, that applied, because I mean, everybody else had done little things here and there, but I was actually a former morning radio guy and commercial guy and stuff like that. So
that's right. I had that written down too. I was going to tell you that. I mean, out of all the actors that participated in that dub, your acting stood out because it really sounded the most genuine. I could tell that you had a lot of experience prior to doing that show.
Yeah, I'd been in about 20 years by the time I got to that show, because I started in radio in 1980, and I did the show in 99 or 2000, somewhere around there.
Yeah, 1999. September 1999 is when it aired on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I did like 150 some odd episodes, about 3 years, and then it was funny. I mean, that was the other thing too, is I almost didn't get the job. So I go out there, I read for the characters. I'm walking out the door. Chris was one of the, I forget the guy's name who was the producer.
Barry Watson?
Barry, yeah, good old Barry. Barry hands me, he grabs me for a second. He says, "Man, have you ever done those drag racing commercials and stuff?" I said, "Oh, you mean those Sunday?
Oh my gosh.
He goes, "Oh yeah, those." He says, so he hands me a description of one of the characters. Can you come back in and read it that way? So I did, and that's how I ended up with the narrator's gig. But even then, I almost didn't get it because, they didn't want to pay anything. And I'm like, dude, I lived in Dallas and the show was shot in Fort Worth. So, I told him basically, you guys got to pay me a little bit of something for the gas just to get out here and back.
Yeah, so I heard that they didn't pay a lot for their actors. I mean, it was like $20 or something ridiculous for when Chris Sabat did his stuff. And he voiced
that's another reason nobody liked me, because I get paid more than anybody else. I mean, I got along with everybody. Don't get me wrong. They're all great people. Chris, everybody's. Matter of fact, I'm so bad with names, man. You just have to bear with me, because years in radio, I just learned how to talk to everybody with, "Hey, man, how you doing?" But one of the guys that was a marketing guy actually was a bass player in a heavy metal band that used to play my club years before. And it was funny because we hooked up, and and he ended up being one of their head marketing guys. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of people think, I mean, and nobody really ever heard the story about what happened with me with the show and stuff, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's just, it was kind of an ugly situation. It was actually pretty stupid to begin with. But, I mean, the guys that had the show got very lucky. Gen Fukunaga's, from the story I got.
Oh, yeah. Gen Fukunaga, he was the president.
His uncle worked at Toei.
Oh, yeah.
One of the relatives.
That's true.
and called him and said, "Hey, we can get the American rights if you can get the money." And Daniel Kokenauer, I guess they went to school together, is the story I got.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, I think, had nothing to do with the show. He just like produced it, didn't really care about it. That's what
you'd like to think that. He's the reason I lost my job.
Really?
Oh yeah. So,
oh my!
I could tell you the exact second it happened, man.
All right. Well, let's hear it.
But anyway, well, I will in a minute.
Okay.
So so they ended up with the show, but these guys had never done anything before. Gen was a Silicon Valley guy. I forget what he did, and then Daniel's parents were, his family, I guess, was involved in banking and finance and stuff and old money in Texas. So that's how they put this whole thing together. So the way is, so I get the gig, I'm doing the narration, yada, yada, yada. I told them, look, you guys got to pay me at least a little bit of money to come out there. So they made a deal with me to pay me a flat fee to come out once a week. And I would do Ginyu, I only did about 15 episodes or 10 episodes, something, because that was halfway through his thing. But the narration, I would go out and I would knock out like 5 or 6 episodes in a 2-3 hour session. So everybody was happy. It all worked out. Well, they were getting complaints about the music on the show because nobody liked it.
Oh, Bruce Faulkner's or your music?
The original music.
Oh, okay.
From the TV show, because nobody liked the replacement music. And one day I went in again and said, Sammy Hagar and Metallica and all these guys are all my friends from my years in radio and stuff. I could take the movie soundtracks because they had those, I had the movies besides the TV show. I said, man, I could take the movie soundtracks and turn them into something like heavy metal, the movie Heavy Metal, and give you a soundtrack that you could actually sell. Well, they loved that idea. But so we got, this is like I said, pestering about doing the thing. It's like, let's set the record straight here. They absolutely love this idea. So we get together. We're going to get ready to start doing the soundtracks and everything else. Now I'm not rich at the time. I'm going to make money on this, but I'm running a little copy shop, and I'm just another schmo, just working for them.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that Chris thinks that all that happened and the thing with Barry is because we got all excited and everything, and they had me book a studio. Brad Gillis and from Night Ranger and Jeff Watson are friends of mine. I was going to go out to San Francisco and do a bunch of tracks with Jeff. And so I booked the studio, paid him in advance, and then find out that Funimation doesn't have the rights to change the music.
Whoa.
And, it was a gray area in the contract. So this was like in January or February of that year. So the whole summer goes by. I'm out money, and they're not moving ahead with this. My lawyer's sending them contracts. We can't get them signed, all this other stuff. So finally, one day, there are 2 things that happened to me that cost me my job with them. If you notice in the soundtracks, especially the first movie, there's a lot of Dream Theater tracks, Bootsy Collins and Buckethead, along with all the stuff that Mark and I wrote. Well, Funimation and my lawyer didn't get the contract signed before they released the movies, and Warner Chappell found out that they shipped 500,000 units and decided they wanted to move the decimal point on the royalty check for Dream Theater.
Whoa.
So it cost me a stupid amount of money.
Man.
And what happened was we were in a meeting. This is the first of my death knell of my job at Dragon Ball. My lawyer's on the phone. We're in Daniel Kokenauer's office, me and Gen and Daniel, and my lawyer's on the phone, and we're arguing over royalties because, these are major rock bands, man. These are albums that they've all released. They all have music. This can't be work for hire like they were all used to doing. So, these bands are all friends of mine, and I convinced them to take 25 cents off every DVD or CD or video at the time as a blanket royalty to be split up between all of them. And Funimation wasn't happy that they had to pay him any royalties. And I looked at Daniel over the office, and I'll never forget this. I just looked at him and I said, Daniel, dude, how much is enough?
That really sounds like they got screwed over.
Quote unquote, is exactly what I said. Daniel, how much is enough?
And is that what got you fired?
That was it right there, man. All of a sudden.
My
and
God.
I didn't get fired. I just didn't call back.
Oh.
We were supposed to. We finished the cell the fight thing with what's the big character? Is that Cell? Is Cell?
Yeah, Cell, the green guy.
Yeah. We finished that saga. We went to the cast party, and things were really weird. Nobody really talked to me. Nothing. I thought, wow, that's kind of strange. So then all of a sudden, I didn't get called back to do narration. So I called over to the show, and sure enough, I find out all of a sudden I've been replaced, and it was all because of soundtracks.
And that's frustrating because on the new Blu-rays, which came out like a year or two ago, they have an interview on there with the actual, like, the new guy for the narrator, and he just came off. I mean, they obviously picked him because I don't know why they would, but he when he was interviewed, he said, I didn't really care about the old guy because everybody could hear my voice in every episode, and that's what made me happy. Because he even asked the voice director, I think it was Barry Watson or either Chris Sabat, I'm not sure, but he said, well, what was wrong with the other guy? And they said, well, we want to try something different, but then they tell him to do an impression of your narrator voice.
Oh, yeah, they wanted me from the get-go. And that was the thing. I mean, it was all over the stupid soundtracks. And the other thing that happened is one day I was sitting with Barry, and Barry asked me what I'm going to do, and I said, Barry, I would hate to think that I'd have to get into any kind of a lawsuit or anything with these guys to get my money back, but man, they told me to book these studios and everything, and I haven't got a lot of money. Dude, I spent all this money and did this, and I don't want to end up that way, but crap, what if that happens? Well, Barry went straight to Daniel and Gannon, told him I was going to sue. So instead of giving me the movies, they gave me the 2 TV specials to shut me up, and little did they realize that after all was said and done, that those would be the 2 highest selling anime videos of all time. I think they still are.
Yeah, they sold a lot on DVD and the Blu-rays too.
Well, the Blu-rays, see, that's how this open wound all started again. A couple years ago, Mark Aiken calls me, says, "Hey man, my girlfriend just bought the Dragon Ball Z CDs in the store." Really? Okay. So I get a hold of Funimation, the new Funimation. Very nice to me, and they asked me to send them all the contracts so that I could verify the soundtracks and everything else. And then they sent me, after all that and everything, and I'm a nice guy, they sent me back a letter saying they don't owe me any money, that the contract isn't valid, and that I owe them money still.
Oh my gosh. This is all stuff that's just coming in. I mean, we had no idea. We just thought that maybe you left, or people that really dug into the internet, they found like maybe there was something with the music, but...
Dude, look at the reviews on the music. Everybody loved that stuff.
I did too. I loved it. Did you? Because I remember on Cartoon Network when it aired, it was a little different, the TV specials when it aired on Cartoon Network. I've actually got a bunch of questions.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Because I had a royalty on that too, and they didn't want to pay it. See, they didn't think any of this was going to happen because they had never experienced what I told them that was going to happen. The previous DVDs all sold like 120, 130,000 units. Those friggin' those Trunks and Bardock movies shipped 400,000 units each from the get-go. I mean, that's why I said and everybody loved it. But you know what they did too? Now, this is what my lawyer, Joe Zinzak, God rest his soul, he passed away since then. Oh. Joe told me that they went right around us to Warner Brothers and tried to cut us out of the deal and do the soundtracks with Barry's favorite band was... oh God, what was the name of that?
It might be Tendril. Is that?
No, that fake grunge band that was out that was so big at the time. It was like they were like a commercial grunge. What the hell was the name of them? Started with an H, I think. I mean, they were big, but they were his favorite band, and they had a little label. And all of a sudden, I heard that he tried to get a hold of them to use their artists. Because if you look at the second one, my buddy worked at whatchamacallit at.
Animated Music, is that the company?
No, that's my label.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, worked at where Saliva and Sum 41 and Caviar.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Those
Interscope. Yeah, was it Interscope? Yeah, I think it was Interscope that I got those guys from. I mean, they couldn't have been nicer. They sent me. That was funny, man. You realize that none of those bands had made it when I made that soundtrack. And that's from my years as being a progressive, rock program director. I pulled those 4 out of a stack. They sent me about 35 different CDs. Said, yeah, man, pick whatever you want for the album. They were cool with the royalties, everything else. And out of that whole stack, I picked those 4 bands. And when you know it, all 4 of those bands made it big. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, because did you have a hand in choosing the bands for the movies then? Because they...
Oh, yeah, I did this. I did the whole movies. I scored them. I wrote the music. I actually scored the film. We sat there in my motor. Mark and I sat there in the front of my motorhome with a Pro Tools rig, a JVC BVU 600 video deck, and a keyboard and a couple of guitars and a drum machine, and wrote all that music and scored it in. I laid the whole thing in. So all they did was just... I even dropped the soundtrack into the movie. And we scored it to the movie. That's why if you look at the soundtrack, you'll see like 30 or 40 songs that Mark and I each wrote. Because we were writing little clips for all the things, and we had to give them a name because they all had to have publishing.
That's right, because I looked at the credits, and they've got all these simple names, but I guess they had to be in order for them to be in the movie.
Well, no, it's the simple names because we had to pull them out of our butt because we had to name them all within like 30 minutes. They're going like, yeah, we need the names for all this stuff. What? Yeah, everything has to have publishing. Okay, Mark, what do you want to call this one? I don't know. Call it Spider. All right, cool. What do you want to call this one? I don't know. Creeping Wall. All right, we'll call it that. Literally, that's how all those names came up.
So I noticed that too, because in the credits, some of the font isn't grammatically correct. Like there could be like a capitalized O in a sentence that's already started for a name.
That's Barry.
That's Barry.
If I remember right, Barry did all the compiling.
Oh, yeah.
He did it. I want to say Barry did the credits and compiling, but I might be wrong. And then the other 2 kids did the sound. They were the music guys. And that was funny because about the time I did that, there were 1 or 2 kids there that were in a alternative rock band. And I think they were trying to convince them to get rid of us and that they could do the rest of the movies.
Oh.
So, I mean, it was hilarious because actually I was supposed to do all those movies. You know,
even the ones that weren't the TV specials?
Oh, yeah, I was supposed to do all of them. We were supposed to replace the sound. That was the whole deal. That's why we did it in the first place. But like I said, when I said that in Daniel's office, that was pretty much the death knell of my life with Funimation.
That's really such a shame. So, is it... I mean, I think you only had 2 roles and maybe a few like side characters in Dragon Ball Z. Is that because they had like a grudge over you, or
no? No, they everybody auditioned for different characters and stuff. They wanted me to do the narrator because they wanted to keep my voice, separate from everybody else's.
Oh.
And a lot of it had to do with money, man. I mean, let's face it, Chris did a whole hell of a lot of voices there for no money at all.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I actually thought if you heard the tapes of some of the characters up there, I actually thought my voice was closer on a couple of them than his was. But see, he worked there.
Closer, as in like close to the original Canadian cast?
Oh yeah, but see, Chris was on salary. Like
yeah.
Those guys. If you're on salary, they can get you in the booth. Yeah, man, can you do this character? Can you do that character? Where the rest of us, they paid us, based on what we did. That's why I think Chris ended up doing what he did. He did Krillin. He did.
Sonny Strait did Krillin, and I think
he did Piccolo and
Vegeta.
Yeah, he did Vegeta, that's it. Yeah, he did a bunch of different ones. And, I mean, on some level that was okay, but, I mean, really it was, a lot of it was about money. Yeah. And, I mean, I can't fault them, They took on a big debt. I mean, let's face it, Funimation wasn't all bad. Don't get me wrong. A lot of good people. Daniel and Gen, for the most part, were really good guys. They all cared about their employees. It was a good place to hang out and work. But like anything, when money comes into stuff, it makes people do weird stuff. It's too bad because I did enjoy doing the show. It was kind of fun. When you're on radio, I mean, when I was doing a morning show, in some markets, I had like 500,000 listeners in one of the markets where I was really big. But you're on the air, so you never hear yourself. But it's really funny, just like you say, the guy on the video. It's funny to turn on the Cartoon Network and hear your voice pop up in front of a show.
Yeah. Do you own some material like DVDs or tapes?
Oh yeah, I got all the original videos. I think somewhere. I mean, they gave us back in the day. They gave us videos of everything. So at one point, I had them all, but a lot of them I gave to friends or autographed them, gave them away to people and stuff. Because I mean, my whole radio career, I've given away most of the stuff that I've gotten from artists and people and stuff like that. Because it meant a lot more to my friends and to the people that I met than it did to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of photos of people, but I can tell you I probably met every major rock star on the planet from 1975 to 1995.
Wow.
Hung out with them, partied with them, went on tour with them, all kinds of stuff. But I might have, 50, 60 photos of the whole thing because they liked me because I treated them, like just a normal human. I mean, at the end of the day, dude, you're just like me. You can just play guitar. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
It's really no different. They're no different than you. It's just they have a special skill they can do. And right now in this particular version of society, that pays a shitload of money. So there you go. But, to be with some of them were just the biggest idiots you've ever met in your life. You scratch your head and go, and how are you successful again? But it is what it is,
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of fun over the years and done a lot of different things in the business, and Dragon Ball was definitely one of them. It was one of the dominoes on my way. If I hadn't done Dragon Ball, I hadn't done the soundtracks, I wouldn't have ended up with my distribution record deal with Universal and wouldn't have put out my Blues Highway CDs and wouldn't be, just running my video company right now and everything I'm doing. So, I can't fault them for it, but it does suck the way it ended.
Yeah, it really is. We'll get to that in a little bit. I still have quite a bit of questions about Dragon Ball, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, sure.
I guess I'll just go down the list now. How did you find out that Funimation was holding auditions for the show?
On the back of the Dallas Observer. It was just a cold call audition list. I think the ad said something about syndicated cartoon show. And it was at the bottom of the page. And I saw it, and I hadn't done any voice work in a while. I thought, yeah, what the hell? So I drove over there and auditioned.
Did you hear of Dragon Ball Z before you went and auditioned?
No.
No?
No. The kids knew a lot more about the show than I ever did.
Was there any competition for the role of either the narrator or Captain Ginyu when you went to audition that you know of?
I don't think there was anybody really. I think there may have been some Captain Ginyu. See, the thing is, if you listen to my Ginyu and the guy that did it out of Canada, they're completely different.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I could tell that you definitely didn't base yours off of the previous, Richard Newman was his name.
Yeah, they didn't want it that way. They wanted some little evil character, so I just thought of an evil, weaselly little voice and did it, and they really liked it. But like I say, the narrator thing came out of the drag racing and,
Yeah, the monster truck, that's what a lot of people were talking about on all these popular Dragon Ball Z forums. They're like, well, what made Dale think that a monster truck announcer would fit for Dragon Ball Z? Because they're very uptight about how they want their show to be presented.
Yeah, and see, that wasn't me, that was them.
Yeah. So, can we hear a little bit of your narrator and Ginyu voices? If that's all right.
Ginyu, it's really hard for me to remember what I did with Ginyu.
Well,
narrator's easy, but Ginyu is kind of a whiny.
I could play.
I rarely ever do him.
I'll play the reel real quick, if that's all right.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'll show you the screen so you can see it.
Ginyu is the only bad guy that never died in that show. That is the one thing I do know.
Oh, yeah, he recently died in the new Super episode, which is the new series that came out.
How did would they turn him back from a frog back into him?
Yeah, he was a frog, and he used his transform beam to go into one of Frieza's soldiers, and then he was around for a little bit, and then Vegeta killed him.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Yeah, it just aired like a few weeks ago, actually, like maybe 4 weeks ago.
So they're finally drawing new versions of that show, huh?
Yep. Dragon Ball Super just started a year ago or so, which is pretty neat. I mean,
is it any of the relatives of the original artist?
Yep, Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, he's behind all of it. He's supervising it. He's writing the story. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it is. And what would be cooler is if Funimation did the English dub and you came back for Ginyu. I mean, I would just be so happy to see that. I mean...
Well, I don't think they're going to allow that.
I
think that's how I did it.
That's pretty close.
That's pretty good. If I remember right, I think that's kind of it.
Here is...
oh, my God, you stole the picture off my cooking show.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. I was going to talk about...
It's too funny.
Well, here's the reel. You can comment on it too if you remember any scenes.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Goku, and he's finally arrived on the planet Namek, and with no time to spare. It's okay, Gohan. Daddy's here, and he has a sensu bean. That's right, Raccoon. This guy is nothing but trouble. A sentiment that was quickly
Is supposed to have audio? Because I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, that's right. I have to put on a voice meter. That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on.
Is Vegeta right? Has Goku become a Super Saiyan?
Here we go. Change this mic real quick. And there.
Is Vegeta right? Has Goku become a Super Saiyan? A living legend?
Yeah, I still can't hear
We'll
it.
soon find out as the strongest
Here I am.
members of the Ginyu Force, Berter and Jace, have made their move and are on the prowl. Surprise!
It's time to face the fury of Ginyu Force! I'm Jace.
And introducing the new and improved Captain Ginyu.
Tell them what time it is, baby!
It's time for you to die. Allow me to take a small break to formally introduce myself. Now, the leader of the Ginyu Force, Captain Ginyu! Rah! What a magnificent opportunity to showcase my
God, it's been a long time since I did this.
Finally, a chance to reveal the full extent of my grandeur in battle. You gotta love it.
I do remember a lot of screaming.
I'm the great Captain Ginyu!
I think I damn near passed out in the booth that day, if I remember right.
Hey, what a scream!
Yeah, God, we did a lot of screaming in that show. That's too funny. You there?
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I had stereo mix on.
That's okay. That's too funny, dude.
Yeah.
Into that show, like I said, I damn near passed out in the booth a couple times, I think.
Yeah, do you remember the part in the series where you're fighting Gohan and Krillin, and it was just basically 2 minutes of punching and grunting and screaming and all that?
Oh, yeah, that's why I said, man, we did a lot of that in that show, which was pretty damn funny. I mean, especially when they'd say, okay, man, we wanted you to scream real loud. Really? Okay, how loud? Real loud. All right. And I'd be, like, glowing red. And they'd say, okay, that's enough. All right, we'll do the next one. It was pretty funny. That was a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely showcased your endurance and those kind of things. I mean, there's a lot of really weak screams, but they eventually got better, of course, like Sean Schemmel and Chris and all those guys. But you really stuck out. I mean, I don't know how many times I could say it, but I mean, you were just a beast in the voice recording booth. I could tell. It was just amazing.
I had the benefits of doing it for 20 years before I did the show.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys hadn't,
Mm-hmm. So, do you have any favorite lines or moments from either the narrator or Captain Ginyu that you can recall?
Well, 15 years later, not really. I mean, the funny thing is, some of the favorite stuff that I remember is like if I remember right, when Frieza killed Krillin. Because Dragon Ball Z is pretty much an R/X-rated show in Japan.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'll never forget that they had to take 3 episodes, and they only ended up with 2.
Oh, yeah, the impaling scene with Frieza.
Yeah, exactly. Because Cartoon Network, I mean, it's a kids channel. They don't want all the impaling and the blood flying all over the place and all that. So, if I remember right, I think they did an edited and an unedited version of the DVDs and the videotapes.
Yep, that's right.
And but yeah, that's the one thing that sticks out is that 3 episode ended up being 2 episodes. And then I remember having to play the other characters. That was pretty funny when I had to play Bulma and because I kept jumping bodies to the end of that, and they had me you got to be Ginyu, but you got to be a female Ginyu.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So you had to pitch up your voice a little bit to sound like
I had to do all that. Yeah,
that's
they weren't
hilarious.
Yeah, they weren't doing any voice correction or anything, so I had to do all those naturally. And then I don't remember the dragon I played, but I did one of the dragons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it was only like 1 or 2 lines. I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing that they probably even put in the credits. It was just I was there, and I forget which one it was, but there were a couple lines of one of the dragons, so I ended up doing one of those.
That's crazy because Chris Sabat's actually credited for doing the voice of Shenron and Purunga, the dragons on Namek and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, Chris did most of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but there again, like I said, he was on salary.
Yeah.
So they saved a lot of money by having Chris do a lot of the voiceover work. Well, some of the people actually worked at the show. They were voiceover talents, but they were also doing other stuff there.
That's right. Have you heard any of the other actors' portrayals, like the ones that took over your roles? Have you heard any of them?
I heard one narrator one time, but that was pretty much it.
Do you have any opinions on it?
Not really, because like I said, after the way we broke up, I kind of just moved on. I mean, you do that when people owe you money.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just decide, it's enough's enough. And I mean, like I said, I wish them the best, but they didn't treat me the way I would treat other people. Certainly, I would have at least called me and told me I didn't have a job anymore.
That is, I still can't believe they did that. I mean, they did, and it was actually Chris Sabat because he rose in the ranks of he went from just being a voice actor to a director, and now he's like overseeing a ton of projects at Funimation. And eventually, I don't know if you've heard of it, but they redid Dragon Ball Z completely, like revamped, cut out all the pointless filler content in the series, and they titled it Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Stephanie Nadolny, and I said this before we started streaming during our brief chat, but Stephanie Nadolny, she was the voice of Gohan, and she was set to come back as Gohan for Dragon Ball Z Kai. Unfortunately, Chris never contacted Stephanie, and there's an interview with her somewhere on the internet. It's not in full, but apparently they said the guy conducting the interview said Chris Sabat sabotaged Stephanie. I don't know what that means, but it does not seem like Chris Sabat is a very nice person to work with anymore. I mean, I liked his work in the Dragon Ball Z, like the original, when I was watching it growing up, and Sean Schemmel as Goku, everybody, and it just doesn't seem like the same. I mean, they don't even go out of their way to change the soundtracks anymore. For the most part, it's all just a very straightforward translation of the Japanese version, and they are not looking to get like Bruce Faulkner or you or other, like Disturbed. I know they did music for some of the movies. They just don't look for that kind of stuff. What's your opinion on how they don't try to Americanize it for an American audience, like in these new Dragon Ball products?
If I'd be willing to, if I was a betting man, I would say it's just like I told you before. The guys who sold the company did it because they liked it and wanted to do the show. The guys who own the company now care about cash. And, I mean, I don't know because I don't know them. I just know the little interaction I had with them about them saying they didn't owe me any money for the royalties. Now, if they got rid of the soundtracks and got rid of my voice and did everything, then I suppose they have a case. But I would be willing to bet you that it's pure economics, man. They don't have to change the soundtrack. They don't have to pay anybody royalties. They don't have to do a work for hire. If the fans don't complain and the show gets on the air, then, why bother? I mean, if I remember right, there again, this is stuff that I'm trying to remember from 15 years ago. I want to say the guy that did the music for the shows originally, Daniel, told me it was his music teacher from high school.
I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever heard that on the internet. Like, I've never read that, but that could be.
Well, they said something like that because this guy was cutting the music, and he either was his music teacher from high school or a guy he knew from one of the high schools there or something, but if you look back at the credits on those original TV shows before I ever did the movies and look and see who did the music, I'd be willing to bet you that I'm probably more right than wrong on that. Because that's how it all started. I mean, I wouldn't have done that. I would have never gotten the opportunity to do those soundtracks if the fans hadn't complained so much. And it was all just, the problem was it was all, if you listen to those early shows, it was all keyboard-based stuff. And that was the thing. Dragon Ball was a good, and you know what sold them? I'll tell you the truth.
What sold him?
I walked in the office one day and told Gen to go watch Batman Beyond.
That's what inspired them to do all that?
Pure and simple, man. I'm a cartoon freak. I love cartoons. Archer's one of my favorite shows right now.
Wow.
And I was watching Batman Beyond, and if you remember when that show came out, my God, it was cutting edge. The soundtrack, it was all guitar and rock based, and it was great. And I went to him and said, what can I say, man? This show's kicking your ass, and your soundtrack should be much more like this. And that's how the conversations all started.
That explains a lot. I mean, that's for your soundtrack and the one that was done for the show. That's what inspired them to do that kind of sound.
Well, that's the thing. I think when they changed it, they changed because I told them about Batman Beyond. Then I did the 2 soundtracks of the movies, and they saw how great those were and how much the fans liked them. And like I said, then they started trying to go around us and do other things, and then they started changing the soundtracks to the movies. I noticed there was a lot more guitar-based stuff in there once Mark and I did those. So, at the end of the day, it's their show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want with it. I'm just a talent. I'm just an actor. I'm just an employee. If they don't want me there, they don't want me there. So you have to kind of look at it that way. Otherwise, you'll put a gun to your head faster than later.
Did you before you worked on those TV specials, were you given the chance to listen to the original Japanese score?
Oh, I had heard some of the Japanese music, and at the end of the day, it was good, but it's not targeted for the American audience.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. I share the same opinions.
Well, you got to remember, I programmed progressive rock stations for 20 years prior to doing that. So, I broke, I broke a lot of bands in my day, that were, in the hair band era and the modern music era and all those guys. So, and I got into radio because I love music, not because I wanted to be a radio announcer or anything. I just, I love music. I partied with the local program director of the local rock station. He bet me one day I'd choke up. I told him, I said, what are you, nuts? I said, you get paid to be an idiot for 5 minutes an hour and play records. How hard is that? And the rest was history. So for me, it was a natural thing to want to program the movie the same way I would program a radio station, so my audience would want to listen to it.
That's a good explanation.
It wasn't rocket science.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is really common sense, and you find out in the world that common sense really isn't as common as you like to think it is.
That's so true. So going back again to the TV specials, did you collaborate with Falconer Productions on those, or with Bardock and Trunks? Because when it aired on Cartoon Network, some of the songs that you did were replaced. Not all of them, but some were replaced with songs from the show. Were you in communication with each other, or?
Oh, we hadn't been in communication since the movies came out, man.
Oh.
We fought over the soundtracks. Those cool discs that I did, those picture CDs that they sold a limited edition of, which I still got a bunch of those.
Oh man, those are so rare. If I could somehow have one shipped over, I mean,
no problem. Just email me your stuff. I'll send you one. I'll autograph it for you and send it to you.
Oh my God, yes! Thank you so much.
Sure. Which one do you want? You want the one where there's 4 different versions. There's 4 different pictures on them. The one you probably want is the one where the robot's hitting Goku in the face, I guess. Oh, that's probably the best one of the 4.
I'm down. That sounds
good.
Okay. So all 4 of them, because I've seen them on eBay, and I actually got a picture.
Really?
Yeah, one of them.
Wow.
And, I bidded $50, and I still lost. It went for something crazy.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. I have a few pictures that I saved from eBay. Let's see if I can get that up.
Wow, well, shit, if any of you fans out there want a picture disc, they're not as rare as they want to say on eBay, and I'll be glad to autograph them and sell them to you.
Here we go.
That's too funny, man.
Right there. Is that?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. You've got see the one up in the top corner?
Uh-huh.
Picture in the top corner? Yeah, that's one of the robots getting hit in the face.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it says on the front that you designed the covers, right?
I did all of that.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they hated me for it.
What? Why? Why would they hate you for this?
Well, like I said, because at the end of the day, they didn't really want me to make any money on this deal at all after all the stuff happened with the soundtracks and everything. So by the time, the reason that those things are so rare is by the time I actually got the clearances and the licenses and all that other stuff done, it was almost a year after the movies had been released. So we just never put them out. And the funny thing about it is, Universal... The only way I got my record deal with Universal is they wanted to release that soundtrack, the whole soundtrack. So because they wanted the whole soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
So I went to a meeting with them. My friend, I knew guys that worked there, so I went down to a meeting with him. Uh-huh. And the vice president looked at me. She goes, it was a lady. She goes, "Look, we can't give a distribution deal to a label that just has 2 records." And the problem was, I had made a deal with Dragon Ball to own the soundtracks. I would score the movies if I owned the soundtracks. They didn't pay me for them. That's how it worked out. And this is where all the mess came in. If they would have just paid me for those, probably nothing would have happened. But
so you didn't get a cent off any of that, huh?
No, I made my royalties, but Dream Theater made $160,000 of my royalties.
Man.
Yeah, they got a huge chunk of money. And the funny thing was, the band were good friends of mine. They would have given me the money back. They even told me. They called me one day and said, "Look, dude, we feel really bad about this. We'll write you a check." Problem was, Warner Chappell's the one that controlled their publishing, and those are the ones that wanted the money. And there again, it's you get into the situation where it's just greed, pure and simple. So, but I pressed. I don't know. I think we did 20,000 units. We did 5. I want to say we did 5,000 at each one. And they're all numbered. They're all because I made them into collector's items, so they all had their own serial numbers and everything. Well, Funimation got pissed off because I didn't change out the songs on all of them. I just put out 4 different pictures. Well, they were supposed to be collected as a set. And instead, they put them out as individual units. So it was just one more little mess.
I think when they listed it, because I think they were listed on the Funimation website until...
Yeah, they bought 4,000 of them and sold them. And that was it. Then they bailed.
They were on sale since like 2008, right? That's when they stopped selling them?
Yeah, I think so, because I think the sell-through on the contract, I think, was somewhere around in that area. And plus, they ran out of them.
Oh.
They didn't buy any more from me. Like I said, I got a whole bunch of them in storage still.
That is crazy. Well, I'm very glad that you do, because that soundtrack, and the Trunks one in particular, I mean, it's just amazing. Definitely prefer.
We had fun doing those, man. Trust me, we were rocking out in that little motorhome. That was a gas. I mean, it's hilarious to think that we did that in the front of my motorhome, that we did both those movies. And like I said, I laid the track in. All they did was send it to the mastering unit and had it run. They didn't put the track in, I did. So for good or bad, if you like it or not, it's all the captain and Mark Aiken.
That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. What about, I remember in the credits, there's Andy Baylor. Is that what his name was?
Oh yeah, Andy Baylor did that first song on the CD, the new Dragon Ball theme song that we were going to try to get him to use for the show.
Oh.
I mean, that thing rocks. You ever hear that?
Yeah, there's actually one YouTube video because it's only on the CD.
Yeah.
And there's one YouTube, somebody ripped it and put it on YouTube. And there's just a lot of people criticizing it. I actually like it. I mean, I like how it mentions Frieza, and I definitely prefer it over some of the Japanese themes that they used. And
they don't like it?
No.
Really?
Well, these are, I'm talking about, if you've ever seen...
Well, the hardcore fans, I can understand that. They're messing with their show.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. If you're a hardcore, R-rated Dragon Ball Z fan, then no, you should get it exactly the way the Japanese do it. And matter of fact, you should get it in the true Japanese, because that's the only way. If you're a real anime fan, that's the only way to enjoy anime, because that's the way it was originally designed.
Yeah. But for some reason, they're like, well, the script has to be 100% accurate. I mean, if you're gonna complain about the script, using some different sentences that weren't in the Japanese, well, just watch the Japanese version. I mean, nothing's stopping you from...
I was there when they were translating some of the scripts. You couldn't do the Japanese version in English. If you did it straight word for word, some of them would be like, hit, now, kill, run. I mean, it was like that. I talked to the guy who wrote a couple, I forget his name, the guy who was writing the scripts, because at one point I wanted to do that for them. I wanted to work on them. And literally some of the Japanese was so just sparse and insane. It's like right now I'm dealing with the Chinese on some stuff with my own company, with Alibaba, right? Well, when they write you emails back, they're speaking in English. Their first name is Doris Wu, or or Stephen Chang, and they, nice today to meet you somehow. Pleased to offer my services. Equipment maybe you buy. How you like?
Oh my, yeah.
Now, that's just how they translate our thoughts into a language they don't understand. And the same thing with Dragon Ball. It's like just like the show. I mean, they airbrushed Bulma in every friggin' episode she was ever in, because if you look at the Japanese version, she's in a thong.
That's right.
So it is what it is.
I'm so glad you know that. I mean, holy crap, you know a lot more.
Some of it I do know just from being there, and from kids coming up to me and going, "Captain, did you know this? Did you know that?" Well, I do now.
Oh my gosh. Well, there's one thing that I wanted to bring up about the Bardock soundtrack, and since we're talking about how Trunks was released, I remember watching this on Cartoon Network, and it actually just aired on Nickelodeon, believe it or not, just a few years ago, the Bardock special with all of your music. And it says right here, I don't know if you can see it circled in red, it says soundtrack for Bardock, the father of Goku, available from Animated Music Incorporated. And as far as I'm aware, that was not released on CD, was it? Or
no, I never released that stuff. None of that music ever came out because all the hassles we went through with them. Yeah, I mean, both those albums. See, at one time, I talked to Universal about either putting out an actual album or maybe a double album or a couple different things, and we were going to release the soundtracks. That's the whole reason why all those bands are on there. But it just got so convoluted, and by the time we could get in a position where we could actually release the record, the movie had been out for a year. So, Universal didn't really want to take the chance. I mean, see, originally we were supposed to release everything at the same time. But Funimation had a hard, fast release date of, I want to say it was the end of October and the week of Thanksgiving for both of those. And there was nothing we could do about it. They just said, we're putting them out and that's it. And they even gave me an ultimatum. If I didn't get, the Bardock soundtrack, they gave me an ultimatum. If I didn't get it there by Friday at such and such, they were going to do their own and replace it, and I was going to lose the contract.
Wow.
So I drove up and gave it to them, and there it was. And they didn't, I don't even think they had it mastered. I think they just popped it on there and put it on.
Holy crap. I mean, this is all stuff that we had no idea even went down. There's so many.
Of course,
things.
How could you? Because they're not going to say any of this stuff. And, I got no reason to lie. And it's 15 years later. I mean, like Mark, when he called me up, well, should we sue him and this and that for our royalties and stuff? I said, really, Mark, I believe in karma. And at the end of the day, whatever money they owe me isn't worth getting. By the time you go through all the crap you'd have to go through to get it and dig up all those old things, it's like, yeah, it's just time to move on. It's one of those things you live and learn. The one thing I learned from Dragon Ball is I know everything there is to know about sync license fees for video. That I do know. That was a very expensive lesson, but it is what it is.
It's just so sad because you were a huge part of the show. I mean, it's just a main character. Everybody heard the announcer whenever a new episode would come on, or the narrator. And I remember being so confused when it went to the Majin Buu saga, which was after the Cell saga, after you did the narration for the final episode of that. All of a sudden the voice changed, and I'm like, what the hell is this? This isn't the guy. Where's the awesome voice? So, yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, they just never bothered to call back. And I actually did call. I called and found out. I forget who told me. But one of the guys I finally talked to, it might have been Chris, actually.
Yeah.
I might actually talked to Chris, and he told me that they had recast my voice. Yeah, that last cast party was pretty weird, man. I was kind of like the one that had smallpox. Everybody was having a good time, and I was kind of like, I was the dead body in the room, dead man walking.
That's heartbreaking. Can you recall who was there? Maybe not by name, but like, how many people were there? They were all voice actors, or?
Oh yeah, everybody was there. Funimation would throw a nice little party every year at the end of the wrap party when we'd finish the season, and that was the end of the Cell saga before they were starting the new one. Because if I remember right, we did that, and then we also did that little side saga that's not really actually part of the series with that other little characters. Like there's 6 or 8 episodes of some.
Yeah, wait, are you saying that you did those?
Yeah.
They never released those with your voice.
Oh yeah, we did those.
So
because that was before we did the Cell saga. I mean, we did that, and then we did the Cell saga.
Well, shoot.
I forget what the name of that character was. It the turtle or something? I forget what the hell was the name. It was some little weird, and I guess in Dragon Ball lore, it wasn't part of the original series. It was like a 6-part special or something.
Is it the Otherworld tournament after the Cell games? Because that was...
No, it's about some character, and there's only like 6 or 8 episodes, and they folded it into the show, right? It's actually part of the series as far as the old Dragon Ball Z, but if I remember right, it was a separate thing, and I want to say there was like 5 or 6 episodes, and they just stuck it in the middle of the show, but originally it wasn't actually part of the series.
Oh, Garlic Jr.
That's it. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, you did that. That's right.
Yeah.
That was
released. That just got stuck in the middle. Just,
That wasn't a part of the actual show. That was just the filler. And that's the filler that I'm talking about that they removed from Dragon Ball Z Kai. They got rid of all that stuff.
So. Yeah. Well, before, remember, they were getting paid by Dragon Ball, they were getting paid per episode. So on a flat rate. So every episode you delivered, you got paid. So, they wanted to deliver the most episodes they could. I mean, when I was working there, they went from, like I said, being bankrupt to actually making money. I mean, I remember that. I think that first year, second year I was there was the first year the company was actually in the black. And I mean, they were, that's before all the merchandising kicked in and everything else. That was the early days when they just, they just got in the franchise.
Yeah.
Now
right from Ocean Studios where they left off. That's right.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it took about a year, I guess, where they finally made it. I mean, I remember the day that I can't remember it exactly, but there was a day when everybody announced that they were no longer, in the red for their royalty, that they were actually in the black. Because I mean, if they were paying like millions a year for that license,
Mm-hmm.
And there was something. Yeah, it was either the first or second year I was there that they'd actually gotten in the black. That the first year they'd made enough money to pay the royalty and and be in the black. So of course now look how much money it's made.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. It's in theaters now. I don't know if you heard about that, but these past 2 years, the movie Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods that had a limited release in theaters. The Resurrection of Frieza that just came out last August.
Now these new movies, or are these some of the 12 old ones? Because those original, the way I heard it, there were 2 TV shows, the 2 that I did, and then there were 12 movies. But the movies are only an hour long, and from what I was told, they were released as double features in Japan to cinemas.
Yeah, that's right. And now they're making new ones, so that would bring the count up to 14 movies.
Yeah. So, but are they still an hour long? Are they still that format?
Yep. Hour long, half an hour, hour and a half, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because they were supposed to be double feature releases. At least that's what I was told in Japan. They were released 2 at a time.
Yeah, those originals were, but these ones are standalone, pretty much feature films. They just got a limited release. It's not like, well, I'm not sure if you heard about that, but Dragon Ball Evolution, that live action film that everybody hates.
I was just going to say, I don't know what your fans think, but me personally, I thought it was kind of a lame-ass
that's
a cartoon movie.
Yeah, that's a shitty movie, but these ones from like 2 years ago and now a year ago, those are actually made by the actual creator. Animated, everything. They've got the Funimation cast in there, so it's not too bad. But there's something missing without, because now the translations are so accurate, they hardly have any fun with the script anymore. They use all the Japanese theme songs, so I don't know what their deal is with that. I guess they're appealing to the people that liked the Japanese version, but once again, just watch it with subs, because
I told you it's a lot cheaper if you own them. You don't have to pay music rights.
Yeah.
And you know what? There may be another thing too, because in the whole thing that I ended up with, it was a real gray area about replacing the music. And think about it. The guys who wrote the music in Japan, well, they want to get paid too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you license the show overseas and somebody replaces your music, do you have the rights to do that? That's how our mess started in the first place, is that they thought they had the rights to replace those soundtracks for those movies, and they really didn't. It was kind of a gray area. And that's what put it off so long and put us in the position we did, because I kept saying, what the hell? You guys asked me to do all this stuff and you don't have the rights to it? And of course, for them it wasn't as important to do the thing with me as it was important to keep the syndicated show and keep their license. So, I can see both sides of it, but at the end of the day, they could have dealt with it a lot differently than they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right. How do you know? Well, have you heard the Ocean dub soundtrack from like the episodes that came before your dub?
I've heard a couple of the shows because they would air in front of ours, when they reset the show, because there were, at the time I was doing it, there was only 150 episodes, and the thing was recycling about every 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So I heard the first ones, and I heard the first Captain Ginyu, and like I said, I heard the music on the other one. And that's why I said, I think it was either Chris or Barry that was talking about how they always complained about the music and didn't like it, and that's how the whole discussion started about replacing the soundtracks. And
so they didn't like the Ocean Studio soundtrack, or Saban rather, and so they make their own soundtrack and they think it's going to be like better, or they just
I think they made their own soundtrack because it was cheaper. Like I told you, they didn't hire anybody. They didn't hire a major studio or hire anything else like that to do that original music. They just did it.
Huh.
So, hang on. Yeah, I am. Just a little while.
All right. Are we gonna have to be going soon? We can do the lightning round. Oh.
We can hang up. We can hang on a few more minutes.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your current affairs right now with your Independent View and stuff.
That's too funny. This guy on your Twitch chat says he lives in Flower Mound. That's where my partner's video company that I'm working with right now is.
Oh,
they're
really?
in Flower Mound. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rushworks, right?
Yeah, they're in Flower Mound right now. Yeah, there's the my Rushworks cameras and my switching systems and all the equipment that we use to broadcast and do our television stuff.
That's cool. Are you using that equipment right now for?
No,
Skype?
I'm just Skyping you on my laptop. But
oh.
no, because one of my switchers is actually in Texas getting upgraded, and the other one's just sitting here. But at one point I was going to use the studios upstairs. We have studios upstairs that we use to shoot our shows and stuff, and we're developing some projects and doing some stuff right now. But at the end of the day, I almost ended up with my own little animated science fiction series a couple different times. I'm a writer.
Wow.
I'm a writer. I've got a whole bunch of different film scripts and projects, and
And during my time with Funimation, I told them I had this science fiction series that I'd written years before that I'd gotten really deep in, written the Bible and a game and all kinds of other stuff with, and I've kind of messed with it over the years, and maybe one of these days I'll put it out.
Well, that would be awesome. Because I happen to enjoy, Man, I Can Cook That. So
we may start doing that again too.
That's awesome, because I think, what was the last episode released in, like, 2010?
Yeah, we just did the 4 episodes because, quite honestly, I was still working at the, that's when I was still working at the Hilton running the Shimmer showroom.
Uh-huh.
And before I had this automated equipment, so I actually had to have camera guys and the whole bit. And it just got to be, it was fun to do, but it was just a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to be too expensive going out and buying all the stupid gadgets we used for the show.
Well, I think it was awesome. I mean, you've clearly got a lot of humor in there. The charm, the band is cool. The recipes that you showcase, I mean, it's all just...
the band, crap, all they wanted to do was come and eat for free. Those guys, I kid you not. We quit doing it. They got all bummed out. Oh, man, we're not coming over again? It's like, yeah, because they all just wanted to eat.
Oh, my gosh.
Typical musicians.
I remember in the last episode, you were like, okay, now it's everybody's favorite part of the episode where everybody gets to eat, and then all the band just comes in. It's just hilarious. I mean,
they were pigs, man. I mean, they loved it. That was the whole, they would sit there through the whole show just staring like like your puppy dog sits there looking at the table ready for scraps.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with the guys that I work with here. We I mean, we're working on developing some internet TV shows and maybe an internet TV channel and some other stuff, and just having some fun, man. I mean, we live in a great community in Vegas where you can do lots of stuff and can find lots of entertainment to broadcast. And
yeah,
it's why I'm on my own now, man. I just decided now's the time to have some fun again.
Mm-hmm. And YouTube's a great outlet for all that kind of stuff. Like, if you ever decide to do original content, YouTube's monetizing options are really good. So, I mean, I don't know.
I'll actually be looking for VegasIndieTube.com pretty quick.
Oh,
we actually own that. We wanted to create a YouTube style channel, but just for Vegas. There's so much going on here. I mean, I've got a show that we've been working on that I told Nathan sooner or later I'm going to get up, called the 99 Cent Show.
Oh, wow.
Which it's the best entertainment for 99 cents money can buy. The original premise of the show is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be kind of like a cross between a variety show and an old morning show, and just a real live reality show. It's just, at the end of the day, it's fun to be able to think and do this kind of stuff. And all my years in Funimation and radio and everything else has kind of geared me to the point where now I can have some fun with my life.
Yeah. Does anybody recognize you, like on the street if you're walking, or if you're just going to a grocery store or any place like that? Does anybody?
Not as much as it used to. In Dallas, big time. I mean, when I used to be on the air in Dallas, I mean, I was the captain at KZEW for a long time, and it wasn't so much when people see me; it's when they heard my voice.
for when they recognize you as Ginyu.
Oh yeah, well, they recognize me as Ginyu, but and that's the funny thing. If you're a cartoon fan, you recognize me as Captain Ginyu or the narrator. But if you're a radio fan, then you recognize me as the captain from KZEW or KZAP in Sacramento or KROQ in San Francisco. And it's weird because when you're on radio, people don't normally see you. I mean, I hosted some midnight movies and some other movie shows and stuff, so people would kind of know what I looked like. And I had my face on a number of billboards in my life promoting, my radio show. But it's really more about when they hear your voice and they know who you are. And I'll be in a restaurant, talking to my friends, and somebody will look over and go, "Excuse me, aren't you the captain?" Of course, you have to be the captain. You can't be Dale Kelly anymore. Now you have to be the guy they listen to in the morning. So can't be in a bad mood.
That must be really flattering, then.
It was. It really is. I mean, I'll tell you something. I learned that I didn't want to be a TV star.
Really? What
yeah, because that little bit of recognition and that little bit of taste for losing your freedom taught me that lesson long before I ever had to learn it. Because I mean, I had the opportunity to be on a few different TV things in my day, and nothing big, but just local stuff. Where, like I said, whether it be midnight movies or hosting this or hosting that. I did a hell of a lot of PBS telethons in my day. One of them I did in a white three-piece long-tail tuxedo.
Oh my!
just having way too much fun. But yeah, it would be really something when people walk up and go, "Hey, aren't you the captain from 96 Rock or from KZW?" And yeah, man, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. It's I could with all the listeners I had on my shows, for the life of me, I could never understand why. I mean, I was very humble about my audience. Same with Dragon Ball. I was very flattered that people got that big a joy out of it and stuff, and I liked it that much, because I crack up. For me, it's just I'm just like everybody else. It's like I told you, musicians are the same thing. They just know how to play guitar better than we do.
Well, you definitely, I think a lot of even for me as a fan, I can tell that you put a lot of effort in everything that you do. And I mean, you were just a huge part of my childhood growing up as Captain Ginyu and the narrator. I didn't get to hear you because I was born in Buffalo, New York, so I couldn't hear you as the captain. Which, by the way,
my buddy Tommy, that's where he's from.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I got a whole bunch of friends from Buffalo.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's too funny you say that. Yeah, Tommy grew it. Tommy's from what the hell's the name of that little town? Some Tawana?
Oh yeah, North Tonawanda.
North Tonawanda, that's where he's from.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a little house over there by the canal someplace over there.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, North Tonawanda.
Well, I mean, it's just, I'm still just completely, I can't even believe I'm talking to you, because you're just a huge inspiration, and just the best thing in Dragon Ball Z for me was just Captain Ginyu screaming and doing all
Well,
this.
thanks, man.
It was just
really
so awesome.
Appreciate that. It like I said, it's nice to hear from a fan, and believe me, man, it is very humbling when people tell you that they were a fan, because you really do stop and go, wow, I can't believe these guys got that much pleasure out of just me being an idiot.
Well, I mean, it definitely, it seems that way because of all the mindless screaming, but it's just, if you actually watch the show, it really accentuates your, just the excitement of the whole thing and how cool the characters are. You definitely added a whole bunch of personality to Ginyu. Ocean Dub is cool with that Ginyu, but yours was a completely different take, and it was just amazing. Definitely
who's this dismantled here on your Twitter? Because this is really weird. They put Captain Kelly's Seafood, and that's very bizarre because this person can't know me. But that's a funny story.
Well, go for it.
When I first got into radio, right? It's like the first 6 weeks of my radio career. I was just doing midnight to 6, Saturday night, Sunday morning, like everybody does. And my partner, his name was Daniel Cook, he was known as the Sarge, right? And he wanted me to come up with a nickname. Well, at the time, I had a beard like halfway down to my stomach, right? My beard was like down to here and bushed out. I looked like Billy Gibbons. Actually, I had a bigger beard than Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top. Well, my girlfriend at the time, her ex-boyfriend owned a seafood restaurant in Reno. This is where I started, in Reno, Nevada.
Oh, wow.
And they were looking for somebody to do an ad campaign for, so they dressed me up like a captain in a hat and a whole bit. And this seafaring captain was looking for a good seafood restaurant in Reno. And the commercial aired, the name stuck, and I was the captain ever since.
That's where you got captain.
That's how it all started.
I thought it was because Captain Ginyu.
Nope, it all started there. That's why I'm laughing, because somebody wrote that. They wrote that Captain Kelly Seafood, and I was like cracking up, going, okay, now I know this person doesn't know me from 35 years ago when I first started in this. But that's hilarious that somebody wrote that, because it flashed me back to running that stupid seafood restaurant. I ended up being the manager. I ended up being the manager of the restaurant for like 6 months.
Wow,
it was crazy. That was pretty insane. But yeah, that's how I ended up with the captain, because I never really wanted to use my name on the air, because I was never really comfortable with that. Because the captain, I could be somebody else. I could be that idiot, goofy person that everybody wanted to listen to, that stumbled and fumbled and goofed up and shit all the time, made fun of himself and used to be number one every place I was ever at. So obviously I was doing something right.
Yeah, well, that must have played a part in how you got hired at Funimation then, right? And all you're an independent view. You must be getting a lot of traffic with.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's I've been very lucky. Every job I ever went after, I got. I managed to work with a bunch of great people along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Some big artists. I mean, I worked with Greg Allman and Brad Gillis and Sammy, and I mean all kinds of different people, and in one thing or another. And I befriended a lot of them. I met a lot of friends over the years, and unfortunately, I lost a few over the years too. But it's certainly been a lot more fun than being a Porsche parts and service manager like I was at 23 before I started down this road.
So, what got you started in radio? Like, what inspired you to do that?
I was partying with the local program director.
Oh, wow.
I was just having a good time. And I wrote a soap opera called The Edge of Sparks, because Sparks is right next to Reno.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote 13 episodes. It got on the air. It actually got written up in the newspaper. And here I am working at the Porsche Parts. I was a Porsche Parts and Service Manager then. And it's like, and I'm blown away. It's like, wow, not only did I write this at 23, but it actually got written up in the newspaper. And then they had an amateur show on the station. And sure enough, Daniel asked me, he says, "You want to do the amateur show?" I said, "Yeah, sure." He says, "Well, this is harder than it looks." And that's when I famously said, "Dude, you get paid to be an idiot for 5 minutes an hour and play records. How hard is that?" So, little did I realize how hard it was, because believe me, the first night I did radio, the records all ran out. I never got the commercials recorded on time.
Oh, my gosh.
Because, when I started, we were still on vinyl, man, and they were always running out. You were always trying to find the record. By the time it was over with, if there was 20 seconds left on the CD player, I could still go to the bathroom. Yeah, if I stories I had in radio, I'd definitely either be dead or in jail. But, but I'd probably have a good time. But, suffice to say, it was a career just like everybody else in radio. It had its ups and downs, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, Dragon Ball ended up being a part of it.
When did you stop doing radio, or do you want to come back to do radio?
No, because it's not what it used to be. It's like anything else. It's no fun anymore. They don't pay people to do what we used to do. I think I got out of it full time in '92 when I moved back to Dallas to open the nightclub, and ended up working at Dragon Ball. And then I did when I moved here to Vegas, I worked at KKLZ. It's a classic rock station here for about 5 months. Because the program director here was an old friend of mine who I used to compete against and beat all the time. So he found out I was living here, asked me if I wanted to come in to go to work, and I said, yeah, sure. So I worked for him from, I want to say it was September to January. And then once we got through the Christmas holidays, I walked into his office one day and said, "Man, Ken, thanks for reminding me why I got out of this business."
Oh.
It's just no fun anymore. I mean, they don't pay the kind of money that we used to get paid. You can't do the kind of stuff we used to do. It's all on computer and syndicate. When I was programming my station, we were playing 1,200 songs in rotation. You're lucky if the station plays 350 nowadays.
That's pretty sad. That's a little depressing, actually.
That is what it is. There again, it's like anything with Dragon Ball or anything else. The bigger the business gets, the more streamlined it has to become, the less personable it becomes, the more corporate it becomes. Just kind of ends up that way,
Yeah. Well, I don't,
Who's this guy?
Oh.
Last time on Dragon Ball Z, Balish has not finished the puzzle. Will he today? Let's find out on this episode of DBZ.
Oh. Yeah, that was something that there's a puzzle I play, because as you know, this is a gaming stream on Twitch. One day I streamed a game called Mario Party Advance, and there's a puzzle mini game in that game for Game Boy, and I was, for some reason, I don't know if I was being stupid or what, but I just couldn't do the puzzle. I mean, it was just a child's puzzle. It was like 4 rows of 5. Just had to shift them all into place, and I couldn't do it. So people like to make fun of me for that and poke fun at me, but whatever.
Yeah, they're all talking about puzzle now.
Oh, they probably want that after I'm
What
done.
do you want? Look, guys, I can't take vocal requests now because I got some stuff I got to do. But I'll tell you what, this has been a lot of fun, and I know I put it off forever. If you want to do it again sometime in the near future, we can do it again.
Oh man, that would be great.
And all these guys that are asking, if I do some voiceover stuff and shit like that, yeah, I'll be more than happy to.
Wow, you're so gracious. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe You are amazing. I can't even put it into words just how... I mean, you're so willing to do everything. It's just... I can't even... You're just so awesome.
Life is short. There's no reason to be an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, really. You can choose to if you want, but life is short. I spent my years being an asshole, and, you know, those were a long time ago in a land far, far away, and I've mellowed. Like everybody else, I've mellowed in my old age.
Oh, well, it's almost 8 o'clock where I am.
Yeah, it's about 6 here, and I'm getting ugly looks from my mother. I'm a caregiver for my mom nowadays, and she would like some dinner, so that's who's been yelling at me, going, "Am I going to eat tonight?" "Yes, Mom, I'll feed you. Don't worry about it."
Oh, my gosh. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. If there's one more thing that you could do, I know you said that you couldn't do voices. You don't have to be loud. Just something real quick if I can post it on Skype. And if you could say it in your narrator voice, I would die.
What do you want me to do?
In your here, I'll post it in Skype here. In your narrator voice. It doesn't have to be loud either. It's just a straightforward. It's not too long. Here we go. If you could say that in your narrator voice, I will die a happy man.
let me get the message thing up and see what it says. We'll see if you one question remains. The future in store for Ron and Mario the plumber. Ron and Mario the plumber.
Yeah, Mario the plumber is my co-host, and Ron's my name.
Oh, okay, and Mario the plumber.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. I like your radio names. That's good, man. You gotta have those names, you know.
Yeah.
We were the captain of the Sarge, the morning defectors. And we were real defectors because we used to be the morning show at the station across the street, and we had decided we got an offer to take over the other station, so we created a format called Combat Radio, which I'll tell you about sometime. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Well, we'll save that for next time we talk.
All right. So let me see. Ron wants me to do this, okay?
As the stream comes to a close, Dale Kelly takes his leave, wishing farewell to the viewers. But one question still remains. What does the future have in store for Ron and Mario the Plumber? Stay tuned for more awesome streaming on the Balish channel.
Oh my god! Thank you so much! I can't even... Oh my gosh. I'm gonna sleep easy tonight. This is crazy. Thank you so much, Dale Kelly, for coming on. I know it's been a long time coming, but thank you so much for coming on. Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Yep, and don't forget to send me your email stuff so I can send you those cool discs.
All right, I'll do that right after the stream. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Have a good time. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.